You know, I had a dog in town that was having puppies, and it was in July, and my wife woke me up at 2 in the morning and said, you know, your dog's having trouble out there. She's yelping and screaming. So I slipped on some clothes and I went outside and I bent down by her to see what's wrong. I lift her up, there's no puppies, and then right behind me I heard, and that's a polar bear that's pretty mad. And so I looked behind me, and just behind me was a mother and 2 cubs. And so I quickly ran up on the deck and I ran to the door. I opened the door, and when I closed the door, her head was right behind me, and I closed her head in the door, and then I closed it on her again, and then she backed out, and then I closed the door.
Along the windswept shores of Hudson Bay, where the Arctic tundra meets the ocean, lies an isolated community to which no roads lead. Churchill, Manitoba. Being situated along annual migration paths of polar bears making their way from land to the sea ice every fall, the town has the unique distinction of being called the polar bear capital of the world. Its locals have grown accustomed to living near the bears, where looking out for one another is simply a way of life.
That's a long-term Churchill residents. We know that when you're walking down the street and if you run into a polar bear, you need an escape route. So we're always taught from the time that we were young, you know, to run to the nearest car and jump in the nearest car, or run to the nearest house and go into the house.
If you surprise a bear, or if there's that one bear that wants to know anything about you, you haven't got a chance.
Like many areas of the Arctic, the ice-free period here in Hudson Bay is increasing at the same time that human activity in the area is also increasing. The heightened risk of human polar bear interactions has the town of Churchill taking special measures to mitigate potential conflicts.
Here they actually have a full-time, fully staffed professional group of people during the bear season that is around town monitoring for polar bears, actively moving polar bears away from town and keeping the community safe.
The town has also improved its waste management strategies and has sealed off the dump, discouraging bears from spending excess time in the community. It also operates a holding facility for bears that are caught loitering around the town, where they're held for 30-day stretches before being airlifted out and released a great distance away. But despite the best efforts of the patrol team, bears still enter the town.
They tend to come in at night or early in the morning when there's no human activity or very little. And they're smart. They'll creep around in and behind houses. They'll creep around in darker places and alleys where there aren't street lights. So it's those sorts of places you really have to keep your eyes open.
As for local residents, the presence of the bears is a part of life and simply another thing to be mindful of.
We grow up knowing about bear safety. It's almost like it's in our DNA. And it's not something that you have to remind the kids. They know what bear season is. They know stay in a group, don't go between buildings, don't take shortcuts, don't walk around at night. They know all that stuff.
You do have to be scared of them in order to know that if you see one, you have to go. But we're not like, oh my gosh, it's a bear, we have to go right now. Oh my gosh.
It's like traffic. We're not really seeing the bears as a threat. It's just kind of a fact of life that, oh yeah, look out, you don't want to surprise a bear.